preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. Halftime in Houston. Hi, everybody. Here in the broadcasting booth, I'm Vin Scully along with George Allen and Jim Brown. Gentlemen, while we have a moment, the key to the first half, Mike Barber caught the pass and fumbled. Jim Youngblood apparently stripped him. Tell me about that play. That couldn't have been by accident, Coach.
Jim has a drill. We've used a drill over the years at the start of practice where you'll give the football to 3 or 4 different backs.
I got a football here.
And go for the elbow, and you can still make the tackle and jar the ball loose. Usually good defensive teams will also lead the league in forcing fumbles.
And the Rams, of course, got the fumble just when they needed it. Jim, as a carrier who didn't fumble much, you had a key role as far as protecting the ball.
Yeah, that's very true. In that particular situation, the back should have realized they had the first down, great field position, and cover the ball. Take a few less yards.
If I'm going to tackle you and you have the ball, how do you cover it?
Well, I'm going to do this.
About 2 hands.
This arm is going to do anything to me?
Well, this arm covers over.
You're not going to hit me with that arm?
Not at all.
Well, if Mike Barber had held on to the ball, not only would the Oilers have had a first down, this place might be a madhouse. And, George, you mentioned that the crowd here in the Astrodome figures prominently in affecting the ball players.
They do. Once this crowd gets on fire, it affects the ball club. Now, they haven't had much chance to yell, and the acoustics here are such that when they start yelling, you can't hear yourself think.
Well, there are the Houston Oilers as they are first to come back on the field. And in a few moments, we'll be getting underway to the second half. A couple of numbers as the Rams now come out. First of all, Pastorini, 7 out of 14 for 91 yards. Hayden is 7 for 14 for 72 yards. Earl Campbell, as you look at the overall statistics, Campbell has carried 8 times for 38 yards. For the Rams, Cappelletti, 5 for 35. Phillips, 4 for 12. Bryant, 10 for 25. And Jodat, 2 for 17. In looking at all of these numbers, George, what's the one set of stats that really means something?
Well, first of all, the third downs, which is none there. The Oilers have not had a 3rd and 1 situation in the first half. And secondly, the Oilers haven't picked up the crucial first down on 3rd down. And the Rams have.
Interesting to notice the difference. Houston is leading the Rams in passing, and things have changed for the Rams. Last year, they passed 44% of the time.
Wow.
Going into this game, they passed 65% of the time. It's a totally different offense.
This year, Pat Hayden and Charlie Waller's doing a good job working with the offense. They're mixing their calls more. They're throwing on first down. They're going play action, waggles, rollouts, sprint outs. The Rams offense is not stereotyped. And Pat Hayden has gotten better every week.
Well, we will see now if the Oilers can shake the effects of that big play and the resultant fumble and Ram recovery, and whether they can rise to the heights. As we had mentioned earlier, they've come from behind for their 2 victories, and all 3 of their games have been decided by less than 7 points. So they keep you busy. The Rams, a great start, 3 victories, no losses. As we look at Earl Campbell. Earl, you've looked at him for a half. Jimmy, what do you think of him?
Well, I'll tell you, it doesn't take me long, Vinny. This guy is a great ball carrier. He has everything from the standpoint of a runner. He gets low, he has speed, he has acceleration, and he can carry the ball in the palm of his hands and know exactly what he's doing. It's not dangerous when he does it. It gives him that extra speed. He has everything.
I think from a coaching standpoint, what I like about him, Jim, is he has a great attitude. He wants to improve. He'll work hard.
Definitely. And
All
he's
right,
a Christian,
Tony
George.
Fritz is about ready to kick off on the Oiler 35. The Rams deep, Jerry Latin on the goal line. Jodat is short to the right. And it'll be Jerry Latin at the 5, to the 20, across the 25, down to the 28, and there's a flag on the play. Rucker, Thompson, and Durden all brought him down.
Well, it could be a late hit or it could be a clip.
Personal foul and a
It's a clip.
And it's against Houston. So immediately,
That's against the Rams.
well, let's check. Yeah, against the Rams on the clip. Excuse me. So for the first time, the Rams do not necessarily have good field position.
Vinny and Jim, you've heard me say this. The first series on offense of the second half and the first series on defense are vital right here. You come out of the locker room all steamed up, ready to go. If the defense can stop them right here, give the Oiler offense good position.
Personal foul, clipping, 59 on the run back.
Now they're raring to go. If the Rams move the football down the field and score, kick a field goal, the Rams are still in charge.
The clip charge against Bob Brzezinski, and now the Rams 1st and 10 on their own 14. That's the toughest field position they've had today. Bryant behind Cappelletti. And it'll be Cappelletti, and he just about got to the 15. Jim Young coming up to hit him.
Actually, the Oilers haven't had the advantage of the home field yet, Vinny. The fans have just been so-so.
In looking at Ram position, they started drives on their own 38. They also had it at the 17, which was their poorest. And, of course, for Houston, they had one big drive and then had the fumble. 2nd and 9 from the 15. Hayden looking left and then going over the middle to Terry Nelson, the tight end, and he carries it out to the 40-yard line. Steve Kiner finally helping to bring him down at the 40. A pickup of 26 and a first down.
First of all, Pat has good protection. He reads the defense, and he sees the tight end wide open. The Oilers didn't play the defense properly. One of the linebackers should be going to the strong hook, and Terry Nelson gets a big first down.
So the Rams pick up the first down on their own 40, getting away from the goalpost. Miller is left and Jesse right. Nelson is on the left side. Cappelletti with a block by Bryant. And Kiner had to throw a block to even slow him down as he fell forward. Reinfeldt finally going on top of him, about 1.5 yards to 2 yards shy of the first down.
The Rams have taken charge this first series on offense. So important in winning this ball game. Quick count.
They picked up 8, so it's 2nd and 2 from the 48. Miller left. Jesse in close now on the right side. Jodat is in there with Cappelletti. And it's Jodat. And he got away from the tackle attempt by Washington. Picked up the first down, and he's down close to the 43. Ted Washington might have had number 59 behind the line of scrimmage.
Jodat.
Jim Jodat is what we call an all-around football player. He's very fast. He's fast, and a lot of people realize that's the sign of a good back. When you can break a hand tackle, an arm tackle, you're not supposed to get tackled by anyone's arms.
Well, Jim,
he's cutting back against the flow, which is good sometimes, but in that case, not so good.
He's a slashing type of runner. He'll break tackles the way he runs.
1st and 10 on the Houston 42. Play action fake to Jodat, and the pass is to the tight end. And Terry Nelson battling to the 16-yard line before Reinfeldt brought him down with Courier on top.
Good call, good play action. Split the seam of the defense.
George, why is it that Terry Nelson is suddenly figuring? Why is the tight end suddenly being used so much?
You take what the defense gives you, Vinny. The defense has given them that. We call that a short corner by the tight end, by Terry Nelson. And by the way, Hayden is reading his keys real well.
They picked up 26 to Terry Nelson. They just picked up another 26 to him.
Looking the defense off.
1st and 10 on the Oilers 16. Jodat going wide and upended fumbles. However, the Rams try. It is bobbled a 3rd time. And Houston has recovered.
You know,
the fellow who made the recovery is Greg Stemrick, 4-year man out of Colorado State. Number 27, and Bum Phillips has dodged a bullet that time.
That was a big play for the Oilers. Jodat spins and twists and tries to make the extra yardage. You're going to fumble once in a while.
So the Oilers recover the fumble and will put it in play 1st and 10 from their own 24. Rams 10-3. Pat Hayden soaking his right hand in an ice bucket. Meanwhile, the Oilers take over 1st and 10 on their own 25-yard line. Tim Wilson is in there now. Campbell the deep back. And it'll be Earl Campbell with Wilson blocking. Inside, Isaiah Robinson still on his feet.
Right.
Oh, what a run to the 35.
They're still running at the right side of the Ram defense.
They got inside Isaiah Robertson then.
Here it is.
Now, Earl Campbell, being the great back that I said he was, follows his interference, makes a little outside move, accelerates, drops that shoulder, keeps the legs moving, and falls forward. The Rams are going to know about him when this game is over.
No penetration by the Rams defense.
1st and 10 on the 35. And Campbell will go the other way now. With Wilson blocking, he's across, and a good gutsy tackle by Isaiah that time to knock him down at the 40.
When you run Campbell wide, you give him the options.
Isaiah did a good job of pursuing on this. If he doesn't come over and meet him at the crossroads, watch Isaiah coming across there.
In fact, it's a great one-on-one tackle.
Look at the yardage.
So Earl Campbell moves it across the 41-yard line. He's now gained 56 yards in 10 carries. 2nd and 4 from the 41. Here comes Wilson with Campbell throwing the block. And Wilson is still shy of the 1st down. Campbell to a pretty good block on Isaiah Robertson, who was dogging.
Well, the coaches think he's a complete football player. Let's watch his block on Freddie Dwyer. He did. We call that a bin block. Or Larry Brooks.
George, he pointed out to me on the telephone that he wants to be an all-around player. He wants to be able to block too. And that's the great sign of an attitude.
3rd and 2 on the Houston 43. Here comes Campbell. Wilson out in front. And he just broke a hand tackle by Dave Elmendorf and picked up the 1st down.
On his own. On his own. Again, pounding that right side of the Ram defense. Quick counts.
Now, when we say a great back makes an offensive line, when I talk about greatness, now watch this tackle. He keeps running. He's running over people. He will run over his own men if they do not get out of the way. So for a back like that, when you're playing line, you're never going to relax. You always feel that he is coming. That's what makes a great offensive line.
Earl Campbell lost his shirt, so Ronnie Coleman has had to come in while they suit him up again. There's Earl putting on a new 34. 1st and 10 from the 49. And it'll be Ronnie Coleman. And he's belted as he gets across midfield.
You know, Jim, the Oilers have more depth in their backfield than they've had in quite some time. They can substitute and keep fresh backs. Here's an example right here. Coleman's a good back.
Great point, because Carpenter came in and gave them a lift, just like you said, Benny.
Yeah, you're right. And Earl, I'm looking at that 34, immediately think that's a pretty prominent number. Greg Pruitt in Cleveland, Walter Payton in Chicago, and now Earl Campbell in Houston.
I'd want him in there right now. Get in there. Hurry up. Get in there.
2nd and 6 from the 47 of the Rams. Houston on a move. Play action fake. Pastorini down the right side, and there's a flag on the play. The pass was completed to Billy Johnson. And a flag as the completion takes it down to the 38. Earl Campbell returning, but we're going to wait. I think it's on the right side of the Houston offensive line.
That is. You know, the left side of that, here it is. Good call, well executed.
Yeah, perfect time for play action because they've been running the ball well. The Rams have to look out for the run. Play action holds them. The pass is completed, but there's a flag on the field.
Right tackle. Offense.
That's what happens when you go on quick counts, when you go on sound. Somebody moves.
That's the 2nd time right tackle Morris Towns, who's only a 2-year man out of Missouri, has been guilty. So it's 2nd and 11 on the Houston 48. Billy Johnson wide right, Ken Burrow left. We haven't seen Burrow handle the ball yet. Pastorini going to dump it to Campbell. And on his own, he moves, finally dragged down by Larry Brooks.
Now we talk about quickness. When Campbell gets this ball, his quickness is what allows him to gain yardage. If that was a slower back, they would have never gained any yardage. The move to the outside, the cut back to the inside, up the seam, the continual use of the legs allowed him to get that gain.
That's that flare stop that they like with a back like Campbell. They can always dump it off to him.
On the Ram 46, third and about 5 for the Oilers. Johnson in a slot inside Burrow right. Pastorini looking right, throwing down there and overshoots Johnson. Rod Perry was right there to defend. And flattened is Dante Pastorini.
See, you don't see that in the statistics, but the quarterback's on his back. Again, not coming through in the third down. Critical situation.
Jack Youngblood leading his Rams off the field. Tony Fritsch and Cliff Parsley. The kicking game has been so very important, and now it's Cliff Parsley coming in to punt the ball on the Ram 46, and Parsley will be kicking from his own 43. Deep, Jackie Wallace and Nolan Cromwell for the Rams. Parsley trying to kick it out of bounds deep and didn't really do it.
Bad kick, short kick.
Bad kick going out at about, looks like they're talking around the 30-yard line.
Every play is the ball game. Every play is the ball game.
Parsley has kicked only 2 inside the 20 this year. 10-3 Rams. Ray Malavasi talking with the officials. 1st and 10 Rams from their own 31. So we'll see if they can take advantage of a poor punt from Cliff Parsley. Rams leading 10-3. Cullen Bryant with Dennis Harrah leading the way. Cappelletti trying to hand block, and he got across the 35. Cappelletti had his hands full just pushing.
Now, not to be critical of Bryant, but if you watch Cullen make this cut, you will realize the difference between a good back and a great back. He makes a curve on the corner, which slows him down. He gets low, which is good. But a guy like Cullen has a very difficult time making a cut like an Earl Campbell can make.
2nd and 4 on the Ram 37. Jesse right, Miller left. And it's Cappelletti fighting across the 40 and might have fallen forward for the first down.
Now, Cappelletti, who is a very good all-around football player, has better cutting ability than Bryant. He gets everything out of this particular play. I say that if Cappelletti had more speed and Bryant was more nifty, they would both be much better.
Well, John Cappelletti fought his way for the first down on the Ram 42-yard line. Cappelletti so far has carried 8 times for 49 yards. Rams leading 10-3, 5:50 to go in the third quarter. Here comes Bryant wide. That's a strange play, Coach. If you watch on the replay, Dennis Harrah was supposed to block number 60, but Harrah couldn't catch up to Bryant.
Well, again, it's a quick count. It's designed to go outside. And the back got ahead of the
couldn't catch
the pulling lineman.
That must be very discouraging. Harrah at 257 is trying to keep up with him.
Well, if Bryant was smart, he would let him get in front.
Use your blockers.
2nd and 10 from the Ram 43. Miller left, Jesse right, Nelson the tight end on the right side. And it's going to be to Cappelletti. And it's a pretty good block by Harrah. That was almost a clip, but the block opened it up for the first down.
This is really great offensive football. It's safe. It's a check-off pass. You set up your blocking. Cappelletti is a guy that uses his blockers now. See him cut back underneath.
But something I'd like to point out is that 61 and 65, they were going a little too slow. They should have gotten out there fast, and if they had thrown, Cappelletti could have made his moves much better.
And you're talking about Rick Saul, number 61, and Tom Mack, 65.
Yes, Vinny.
1st and 10 on the Houston 46. Here comes Cullen Bryant. He's short of the 40, but the Rams moving. Remember, after the punt, they started on their own 31. Kiner and Curry making the tackle. In another world, the New York Yankees trying to hold on and beat the Red Sox. They're tied 3-3 with Toronto in the 4th inning. 2nd and 6 on the Houston 42. 3:50 to go in the third quarter. Capoletti with Bryant putting a block on Brazil. And a couple of hard yards. Boy, that's a collision. Cullen Bryant blocking Robert Brazil. You could hear it all the way in Los Angeles.
You know, Capoletti does what we call pick a hole. So he starts up inside, then he slides outside. Pick a hole running. Always going forward.
3rd and 1. The Red Sox and Cleveland, no score in the 3rd. The ball on the Houston 37-yard line. Charlie Young is in there now on the wing just outside Terry Nelson on the right side. And Bryant pounding for the first down, and he's gotten it. So Cullen Bryant grinding it out.
Jim, not many clubs have run on the Oilers like this.
I'll tell you, last week, the Rams offensive line played a tremendous game. They met those Dallas defensive stars head-to-head and won that battle, and I think this is a carryover from that game.
1st and 10 on the Houston 35. Dwight Scales is in there now, wide right. Miller left. Hayden looking left and going over to Miller, who does an Al Jolson and makes the reception at the 25-yard line. Stemrick over there to defend. He didn't like it.
Good call by Pat. Quick count. 1-on-1. 12-yard out.
Stemrick is a little angry, a little frustrated at this point.
Yeah, he has to touch him and get up and run. Yeah, he caught the ball between his knees.
The ball is between the knees. 2nd and 1 from the 26. Rod Phillips battling and crawling to the 20. They'll probably mark it before that, however, and it's a first down.
That was a good spin by Phillips. In other words, if he did not spin, he probably would not have gained a yard. But because he did spin, he was able to gain a few yards and get a first down.
Jackie Slater coming out. Doug France is back in there. 1st and 10 for the Rams on the Houston 21-yard line. And as you can see, 3-1 in first downs, 18-6. Scales wide right, Miller left, Nelson the tight end right side, Phillips and Bryant back of Hayden. Hayden releasing to Phillips. He got a block from Hara, then by Saul, and he fumbles. It is picked up by Sampson, but I believe after the whistle.
Yeah, they blew him dead.
Sampson first picked it up and gave it to Reinfeldt, but they'll call it back.
Now here's the first noise the crowd's made today.
Now,
that same play.
Phillips on this particular play does a good job at contact, but here is where a great back would accelerate. The acceleration might allow him to split the seam.
That was a quick whistle. That was a quick whistle. That's a break for the Rams. Because he fumbled as he was going down, as he hit the AstroTurf.
And Mike Reinfeldt was away with it, but it's blown dead. 2nd and 1 on the Houston 12. Capoletti upended. He fumbled, but Bryant fell on it, and that might have been after the whistle. Good hit by Ken Kennard, second-year man out of Angelo State, number 71.
We watch the defensive line here. They are charging low. We call that a submarine. In other words, it's very difficult to run through it. You can jump over it. When you see a back jump, sometimes the defensive line is submarining.
The defensive ends on that last one took an inside charge and have inside responsibility.
As you can see, the measurement, they need that much for a first down. The crowd a little sullen and angry over the fumble callback.
Two tight ends.
Miller and Scales come out. Charlie Young is in there with Terry Nelson. And there's the crowd, mean, sullen, and bordering on mutinous here. 10-3 Rams, 40 seconds to go in the third quarter. 3rd and 1, and the Rams have been converting, and the Oilers have not. From the 12. That's Capoletti. And you tell me how they can ever figure whether you've gained the yard or not.
It's a judgment thing, Vinny.
Line judgment.
You're
The
absolutely
fewer
right.
judgment calls you have in pro football, the better.
Okay, first down. 1st and 10 on the Houston 11. Remember, this drive started after the poor punt by Cliff Parsley gave the Rams 1st and 10 on their own 31, and they have traveled down to the Houston 11. The Oilers stubborn, but they're behind with 9 seconds and going down of the 3rd quarter. 10-3 Rams. Cappelletti and Bryant behind Hayden, and it's Bryant. Mack is pulled to lead the way, but he goes the other way, and there's nobody there but blue shirts.
Great pursuit, and the strong side, the onside, got across. Penetration. That's how you stop sweeps.
So 3 quarters are history here in Houston, and for the moment, the Rams 10, Houston 3. The Rams, leading 10-3, have it 2nd and 11 on the Houston 12-yard line. Both clubs appeared to be a little listless walking down the field, George.
Vinny, I like our players to jog from one section to the other. We have a statement that only the mailman walks. You jog.
Well, there was a lot of walking, a lot of mail delivered then. It's 2nd and 11 from the 12. Bryant, the deep back behind Cappelletti. Hayden bothered but got away. Throws on the run, and it's batted down. Brazil and Bryant was there, and a lot of heat was put on him by Art Stringer, number 53. It was Stringer who really messed up the play for Hayden.
But actually, this is great coverage on the part of the Oilers. Hayden had a lot of time.
Hayden did a good job of not getting sacked here and taking a loss.
Now notice the time that he has. That means one thing, that those defensive backs are really covering the receivers.
That's Stringer.
I don't like to see a man leave his feet and jump up like that. If he hadn't done that, he maybe could have sacked him.
All right, it's 3rd and 11 from the 12. Jesse is right. The Oilers are moving around up front. Hayden lobbing out of state and knocked out by Alexander.
Flag on
There's
the
a
field.
flag, and it could be the cadence of Hayden drew him offside again.
That whole front was moving.
That's that.
I think it's against the Rams.
Good leap by Willie Alexander. He's 6'3" out of Alcorn, and he really climbed a ladder to knock that one away.
They were offside, and he got back, but it looks like it is going to be against the Rams. No, it isn't.
They're spotting the ball back on the line of scrimmage, which is the 12, so let's listen.
Holding number 75. Offense declined. 4th down.
So the dentist, John Williams, was caught holding, and Bum Phillips has seen his club stiffen. Remember, it was 1st and 10 on the 11. It wound up 3rd and 11 on the 12, and so now 4th and 11 from the 12 in a 10-3 game. Nolan Cromwell will hold. He'll spot the ball on the 19, and Frank Corral will be asked to kick his 2nd field goal of the day. It would be a 29-yard effort. And it's blocked. Blocked and picked up by Alexander. Cromwell trying to fight him to the sideline, and finally Nolan Cromwell knocks him out of bounds at the 45-yard line
Big
of Los
play.
Angeles. Willie Alexander picked it up.
George Allen, this is what you teach. Great special team play.
Beautiful layout, good technique on the block. This is what sets your team on fire and turns it around. Now Pastorini has to take over.
That's why you were a great coach, Coach.
When Bum Phillips was told he passed his physical this spring, he said, good. If I die tomorrow, it means I'll die in good health. Well, the Oilers are in good health. 1st and 10 on the Ram 45. Burrow left, Renfro right. Barber, the tight end, on the right side. Carpenter and Campbell are the backs, and there goes play action to Campbell. And Pastorini on a bomb down the left side to Burrow.
Yeah.
No good. Ken Burrow on Rod Perry.
That's just what we predicted, Jimmy.
Exactly what you predicted, Coach.
After a turnover, give him play action. Put Burroughs, your big, tall receiver. Send him deep. Here he goes. He's lulling them to sleep. He's waltzing right there. Now he'll turn it on. He's got a height advantage over Perry. He was open. He underthrew him.
George, I'm going to interrupt you because you wouldn't say it, but George told the director to isolate on Burrow, figured he would go against the smaller man Perry, and it's exactly what happened, Coach. Nice call. 2nd and 10 on the Ram 45. The implacable Bum Phillips looking on. Mike Barber, a tight end, is shaken loose wide left. Billy Johnson is in a slot right inside Burrow, and it's still Carpenter and Campbell. And this time, play action to Campbell, down the middle, complete to Mike Barber. He's the fellow who fumbled earlier, and he's not going to fumble this time to the Ram 20.
Jim, I like a guy that fights for extra yardage after the catch.
I love him to fight too,
Boy,
George.
look at this.
It's a beautifully thrown pass.
Crossing pattern against the zone is always good. You go from one zone to another.
Now, fighting here can be very dangerous because that gives the defense a chance to hit the ball out of
for
your
the
hands.
ball. As long as you protect the ball.
1st and 10 for the Oilers. Recovering that block kick. They're down to the Ram 22. Just the start of the 4th quarter. 10-3 Los Angeles. And here goes Earl Campbell. He knocked Robertson on his back.
Watch out!
Beautiful, beautiful.
5. Oh, what a runner.
Oh.
They're going wild in Houston.
Oh.
Everybody's happy.
I'm going well up here.
Beautiful running.
He
Power.
ran
see?
over Robertson.
Tremendous.
The Rams are still thinking that they are playing Tony Dorsett.
Boy, did he hit Robertson.
Earl Campbell is strong, and
ran
he
over
will put
Isaiah.
his shoulders into your chest.
1st and goal on the Rams 6, and this crowd is noisy now. Carpenter and Ronnie Coleman. Johnson in a slot inside Burrow left. Put Barber's on the right side, the tight end. Ronnie Coleman inside the 5. 2nd time today, Johnson.
There comes Campbell back in.
Earl Campbell had to put on another shirt.
Sledgehammer running.
Boy, what a runner. He, so far today, has carried 12 times for 75 yards, and he leads the NFL in torn shirts.
2nd down.
And goal from the 3. 10-3 Rams, and they are hanging on now. Carpenter and Campbell. Castor is a tight end on the wing just outside Barber. Castor in motion. Earl Campbell running around Elmendorf, and he can't get around him. Elmendorf gave him a pretty good shove to keep him there.
Yeah, he didn't have a chance on that.
Here he's coming right at you.
The Rams' defensive line did a great job because they strung it out. They kept Campbell going wide, wide, wide. He could not make that cut.
Elmendorf made the play. He turned him in. Got across, which is...
However, down on the field in that collision would appear to be Earl Campbell on that play. So it's a quiet moment in Houston. We'll return after this word from your local station. Franchise, Earl Campbell shaken up as Elmendorf pushed him out of bounds. Jack Reynolds landed rolling over on top of him. So it's 3rd and goal from the 3. In motion is Castor. Play action fake to Coleman. Pass in the end zone to Barber. No good. Defending was Jim Youngblood.
Barber did a good job on this play because he came back for the ball. Now, as we watch it, play action fake, which was a good call. Coach said they should have made this one. The ball is lobbed. He comes back, but he misses.
Misjudged the ball.
He did everything but catch it.
It is 4th and goal from the 3. Tony Fritsch is in there, but Dan Pastorini is the holder. Coach, you wouldn't be surprised if Pastorini came up out of the hole to pass, or would you think they'd go for the field goal?
12 minutes, Vinny, I'd go for the 3 points.
All right, Pastorini will spot it on the 10. It's a 20-yard field goal attempt by Tony Fritsch. And he kicked it through. So the Rams lead has been cut because of the blocked field goal and the Houston recovery and run back by Willie Alexander. It is the Rams 10, Houston 6 with 12 minutes left to go in this one. Rams leading Houston 10-6, 12 minutes and 9 seconds left in the game. Tony Fritsch kicking off. Jerry Latin is deep on the goal line with Joe Dat and Phillips back there to help out. Latin on the 4. To the 25, 30, and almost got away. J.C. Wilson, number 33, just did get him at the ankles. A question. Going into this game, the story would be the Rams would suffer a letdown. Have they let down, do you think? And if so, in what area?
They're playing well. They haven't let down. In fact, the Oilers, I think, are quite fortunate that they're still in because the Rams have controlled the ball.
Well, George, I don't think they're fortunate. I think they're playing great football. They are close because they are playing good football.
Well, they got to stop them on the ground if they're going to give their offense some field position.
Capoletti into a crowd. And the last man we saw disappearing after Brazil went under was Elvin Bethea on top, number 65. Capoletti has carried the ball a dozen times. Cullen Bryant has carried it 15. Capoletti has picked up 59 yards and Bryant 38. 2nd and 8 on the 36.
These Oiler linebackers hit you from all sides. They pursue well. They're very physical.
Joe Dat, the deep man out of the eye. Miller is left. Jesse Rice. Tight end Nelson on the right side. Joe Dat. Inside Nelson blocked, but he's dragged down. Good tackle by Ted Washington, number 59.
They slide Ted as a free agent, Vinny.
Boy, he looks good.
Kiner was a free agent. 2 of the 4 are free agents. They're all tough.
Ted Washington, number 59 for Houston. 6-year man out of Mississippi Valley. A 17th round draft choice by Kansas City, signed by the Jets, and playing very well here for Houston. 3rd and 5 on the Ram 39. Rams lead 10-6, 10:49 left to go in the game.
Big down here.
Miller left Jesse Wright, and over the middle to Miller. He's wrapped up by Stemrick, and that should be enough. It's more than enough for the first down. So Hayden was 12 for 21 and 163 yards, and he comes up with a pivotal pass completion.
Hayden had the ball snapped, quick count, before the Oiler defense was set to rush the passer. He's been going on a long count on 3rd down. That time he went on a quick count, went on sound.
Willie Miller, being an intelligent receiver, made sure he got the first down yardage and that he caught the ball.
1st and 10 on the Ram 49. Miller comes this way, and Jesse at the top of your screen. Joe Dat behind Capoletti. And it's Capoletti. Washington turned the play inside, and Capoletti still carried to the Houston 45.
Did that on his own.
Boy,
that's
good
the
play.
Capoletti style. He slides, and he slides.
When Washington turns him in, how come he got through all those linemen?
Well,
Because
he cut back.
He cut back, and he went against the grain, and he has that ability to keep his balance and slide. And he also is getting that shoulder down much slower now.
He's got that good peripheral vision, Vinny, that he can see where there's an opening.
That's why he was great in college.
9:48 left. Rams 10-6 over Houston. Baseball score, the Yankees 2, Cleveland 0 in the 3rd inning. And the Red Sox tied with Toronto 3-3 in the 5th. It's 2nd and 5 for the Rams on the Houston 45. 9.5 minutes left to go in the game. The Rams leading 10-6. Second man, Jim Jodat, with Dennis Harrah throwing the block, and he's a fumble. Houston has recovered. It was picked up by Greg Bingham, number 54, a 6-year man out of Purdue.
Well, that's quite a break. Quite a break for the Oilers.
All right, watch Harrah on this play as he pulls out. Kicks the block out. Jodat accelerates, moves through the hole.
Helmet on the ball.
You said, was the helmet on the ball, George? That's what knocked it loose, huh? It's unfortunate.
You know,
A lot of football left, as the numbers tell you. 9:24.
James Young went out of the game, Vinny.
Yes, he hurt his leg. It appeared to be a muscle cramp in the back of the right leg. In this instance, Another shake-up, and that's Elvin Bethea going out for the second time today, being hurt.
What a fine defensive end he is. He can do it all.
Bum Phillips standing on the sidelines.
Bum's has done a heck of a job here.
You know, Bum Phillips made an interesting quote. He said, "I don't coach the players. I coach the coaches, and the coaches coach the players." Is that the way you ran things?
No, not quite, but that's all right.
You mean there's room, George?
Yeah. You know, this James Young, Jim, 2 years ago, he tried out for the Redskins as a fullback. Now he's a defensive end.
Must be a great athlete, George.
He is.
First and 10, Houston on their own 33. Ronnie Coleman is the deep back. In there with him is Tim Wilson, and here's Ronnie Coleman spinning to the 40, and then the Rams gang up on him, and there's a few angry people down there. Pat Thomas, and he was annoyed with Conway Heyman. He shouldn't be. Pat Thomas compared, well, he looks like something that fell out of Heyman's pocket.
As we watch this is a good move. Different style than Campbell, of course, but a good move.
Gave him an elbow.
Pat Thomas is 180 pounds. Conway Heyman is at least 260. All right, 2nd and 2 from the 41 of Houston. 8:45 left in the game. 10-6 Rams. Wilson didn't get it. He appeared not to have any traction at all.
One of the reasons that they run to the Rams' right and their left is that their best linemen are over there.
In other words, it's not a Ram weakness.
Right. Sampson and Reiner are their two best offensive linemen. That's their strength.
Earl Campbell getting his left thigh taped and also getting a respite because it's been heavy going for him. There you can see the tape job. 3rd and 2 on the 41. Big play. Wilson and Coleman out of the eye. Castor just off the wing of Barber as a second tight end. There goes Castor in motion. Coleman, and he got it. First down. Got to the 45.
Jim, I like to see a back go over the top like that.
When should a back go over the top, George?
Short yardage. I like the way he did that. Coleman.
Absolutely right. If you watch the Rams defensive line, they all charge low, which allows the back to go over the top.
They need 34 back in here just for the threat.
Definitely.
1st and 10 on the Houston 45. Remember, they recovered the fumble on their own 33. Billy White chooses Johnson inside Burrow and a slot right. Barber, the tight end, on the left side. Wilson and Coleman, the running back. Pastorini going for the bomb, and it's Burrow. It was picked up by Pat Thomas. So the interception by Pat Thomas.
Pat Thomas is a smart defensive back. He can jump. He plays the ball well. He's physical. He's a lot like Pat Fisher. Real tough competitor.
So the Rams get over their own fumble and come back to lead 10-6. That picture just about tells it all, except the Ram possession. 1st and 10 on their 10. Cullen Bryant, the deep man, and Cullen's carrying. Cappelletti tried to lead the way, but in that 3-4 defense, all of a sudden there are a lot of people coming at you.
Well, they're stunning on every play. There's a linebacker coming, Vinny. It's a difficult defense to block because you never know who's coming.
And deep in their own territory, Cullen Bryant was playing it safe then. Sometimes the back don't run as hard when they're deep in their own territory.
And he had two hands on the ball, Jim.
Yes, he did. They don't fumble much, which is great.
2nd and 7 from the 13. Cullen Bryant, and what a play by Bob Brazil. What a play by number 52. Oh, he is something.
It was predetermined. Now watch 52, Brazil. He's dogging. It's predetermined. Puts him right in the hole.
But he took a pretty good block on his own side and still made the tackle.
It's very difficult for a back to do anything in a situation like that because the defense is on you so fast.
The defense is on offense on that type of play.
That's right. They're all in the backfield.
6'4", 238, 4-year man out of Jackson State, Robert Brazil. Tremendous player. 3rd and 11 from the 9.
Quick count. Quick count.
Hayden cranking up, throwing to Miller. And he goes down, but he made the first down, and that's the key at the 25-yard line.
No pass rush, great pass protection. Either way you want to look at it.
You know, when you talk about Pat Haden, in this game, he has made some very key third down plays, and that's a sign of a good quarterback.
That usually ends up the name of the game, third down.
Yes, it does.
Well, 1st and 10. The ball on the Ram 25-yard line as they move it out from the interception that had it on the 10. Ray Malavasi watching his horde, trying to keep a perfect record intact. Capoletti with Bryant, and some pretty good moves by Big John. He was dazzling there with a couple of sharp footsteps.
Big John has been reading the papers. He has been criticized because of his speed. Today, I believe he is faster. Great cut.
He had nice hold of the read there.
In fact, he went in the air, sidestepped a man, and gained about 4 more yards.
He's got good balance, good footwork.
2nd and 2 on the 28 before standing room only. 49,216 here at Dome. Jim Jodat into a pile. You know, in honor of Bum Phillips and the change here in Houston, we should mention with 4:28 left, this is the 15th time they've had a sellout here since Phillips took over. Before then, it was an empty village.
That's great. He's given them an exciting football and winning football.
They say he wears cowboy boots on the golf course with spikes on them.
But he doesn't wear his cowboy hat because he said, my mama told me never to wear my hat indoors.
Indoors.
Clock's ticking away.
4 minutes left. It's 1st and 10 on the Ram 36. Rams leading by 4, 10-6. Jesse in the slot inside Miller. There goes Capoletti trying to get around Terry Nelson. But Nelson is one man, and there were 5 over there.
What's great about this drive is that they're running out the clock, Vinny. This is very key right now. They're 4 points ahead. It's going to take a touchdown, so it's great that they have good runners, solid runners who can hold the ball.
They won't throw unless they have to. They're putting the pressure on Pastorini.
Just about back to the line of scrimmage, so it's 2nd and 10 on the Ram 36. 3:22 left in the game. Jesse right, Miller left, Jodat and Capoletti split behind Hayden. And he's going to throw, but just a little release to Capoletti. And that play that you call safe, George, gets it out to the 40.
Very safe. You don't get sacked on that even if your protection breaks down.
3rd and 6 from the 40. 2:50, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner. Well, the Oilers have 1-2 coming from behind. It looked like they were going to tie it up, but they had to settle for a field goal with 12 minutes left. And now, because they had to settle, that might be the difference.
There it is.
6 from the 40.
There it is.
Miller left, Jesse right. Nelson on the right side. And Hayden to Capoletti. And Capoletti is taken down in Houston territory.
You see,
and that puts a lock.
Houston's playing great football in this series on 1st and 2nd down. On 3rd down, the protection is giving Hayden the time to throw, and there's somebody open.
Is definitely throwing.
So they're going to have to dog if that situation comes up again.
Pat Haden is telling offensive captain Tom Mack and telling the coach to take him out and give him a breather. So Ed Fulton will take over for the 13-year veteran Tom Mack out of Michigan. Ed Fulton, a first-year man from Maryland, is number 68, taking his place. 1st and 10 from the Houston 47. Capoletti, boy, what a workhorse he's been today. That'll be his 16th carry, and he had 73 yards prior to it. There's Tom Mack, and evidently just taking a breather.
He's all right.
He's 34 years old. He could use a breather. By the way, Capoletti has carried for 75 yards in 16 carries, and Campbell 77 yards in 13 carries. So the Heisman Award winners are neck and neck.
That's right.
The Oilers did something that's smart. They took a timeout, which will make the Rams put the ball in play one more time before the 2-minute period.
The key situation in this last quarter is the fact that Earl Campbell was hurt and not in that particular drive.
That's a good point, Jim.
Of course, I think the key situation as far as the Oilers defense is concerned is that Hayden has had the time to throw and pick up these crucial third down passes, Benny.
2nd and 8 from the 45 of Houston. Hayden has been very hot. 16 for 25, 207 yards, no touchdowns, but no interceptions.
Here's where you get a lot of suggestions. I always like to, after we get all the suggestions, I always like to ask the quarterback, what do you like here? What do you feel that you have confidence in? And then most of the time I'll go with that because he has the feel of the game. Unless we have something real positive that we know has a chance to be successful.
Well, George, they say that the Ram team represents the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, meaning that there's a little bit of George Allen, Chuck Knox, and Malavasi.
There's Earl Campbell, and you can see that left thigh heavily taped. And without Campbell, of course, they don't get that inspirational lift. And, of course, right now they don't get the ball. It's 2nd and 8 on the Houston 45. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. 10-6 Rams. Hayden on a roll, being chased by Brazil. Bob Brazil, he's everywhere, number 52. Now, what kind of a play call was that, Coach?
Well, I think he figured he's got what we call a bootleg type of pass or run, and they were dogging. 52 was coming in there, and it didn't fool him.
Does Hayden throw particularly well running to his left?
Not as well to his left, but he can. He can throw either way. That type of play, it's either good for a long gainer or you lose like that.
They lost. It's 3rd and 15, and of course Bum now is talking to Pastorini about getting the ball one last time and defeating that stubborn Ram defense. Pastorini has thrown 9 for 20 for 120 yards, no touchdowns, and he had one key interception just moments ago. And again, Hayden is huddling.
Right. The interesting thing here to me right now, thinking defensively, is how many men are we going to rush? If he's going to throw the ball, if we rush with 3, we haven't gotten in there. We've given him too much time. I think that's the key to the defense right now. Then, who are you going to defense? You're going to defense 81, Jesse first, or are you going to defense Terry? But I think the key here is the rush.
Well, as you look at Bum Phillips and some of his Warriors on the Houston side, just to set the scene again, 2:05 left in the game. It'll be 3rd and 15 from the Ram 48 as Hayden returns to the huddle.
You have a chart, Vinny and Jim, and you know exactly what he's done in this situation. And then you try to defense that particular man with the strongest defense that you can call.
Would you expect him to put the ball in the air now, long but with time left?
I think he'll try to get the first down.
He'll put it up probably carefully.
3rd and 15. Miller left, Jesse right, Nelson on the right side. It's Bryant and Capoletti. He's going to send it up. And he's going deep to Nelson. And the tight end makes a great catch to the 25, and that's it.
That's the ball game. It's just,
oh, what a play.
It's just what I said, really, Vinny. He had the time to throw. He had a chance to go to either 81 or 83.
Maybe in another year they wouldn't have done that.
The 2-minute warning. We're down, as you see, 1:59 now. 1st and 10 on the Houston 26, and you must remember that the Rams, on the interception by Pat Thomas, had the ball 1st and 10 on their own 10, and the Oilers were just unable to stop them.
The key to this drive, Vinny, has been Hayden has picked up every third down play.
And 63 yards along the way. So 1st and 10 on the Houston 26. Miller is left, Jesse right, and you have Bryant and Capoletti. It'll be John Capoletti dragged down, but he got away from Elvin Bethea. Willie Alexander can't get him. And Steve Kiner does. It was just that simple. He escaped 2, and the third man finally got him.
Well, it took a lot of time.
Sure did. And it's still running. They're down to 1:38 and counting here. It's 10-6 Rams. They don't look like they're going to give up the ball.
Here's where the Oilers have to think about using their timeouts.
Second and 10 on the Houston 26. 1:21 left. 10-6 Rams. Miller in a slot inside Jesse Wright. Nelson's on the left side. Capoletti with Bryant blocking. And he got across the 20-yard line. Pretty good block by Terry Nelson, who is somewhat of an unsung hero. The tight end, number 83, Terry Nelson, has caught 6 passes for 110 yards.
Big catches. Now, here's where the Oilers have to gamble. Come in with 6, 7, 8-man rush and go for the football, tackle the ball, try to force a fumble.
Elvin
the
Bethea.
The Oilers took a timeout there.
And Bethea, for the 3rd time at least, has been shaken up today. It's been a long day for the 11-year veteran out of North Carolina A&T. So Pat Hayden firmly in command, and the key play on the drive, that sensational leaping catch by Terry Nelson.
Well, all these 3rd down plays have been big plays. He's had good protection, good execution on the pass pattern.
And yet, when you think about it, the Oilers, the underdog, had a fumble on a pass reception by Mike Barber that could have tied up the game at halftime.
Exactly.
Then they had this heartbreaking interception. So the Oilers have stayed close all day, but it looks like they're going to be a buck or two short. It's 10-6 Rams.
Their defense has been on the field a little too long.
Last week, the Oiler offensive team kept the ball long enough. They went something like 73 yards basically on the ground against San Francisco, and the defense saying that set a record for time rested. Well, they've had to pay for it today with the Rams holding on to the ball.
What we like to tell our offense right here now is 2 hands on the ball. Whatever play you call, 2 hands on the ball. Don't hold, don't commit a foul. Just play safe, run the clock out.
55 seconds left in the game, as you see. The Rams, having knocked off Dallas, playing Houston today, they go to New Orleans next week. So it's 3rd and 3 from the 20. 55 seconds left. Hayden to Cullen Bryant. Big hole. And Bryant is across the 15, and finally Bill Courier had to get him at the ankles before getting some help up on top.
Cullen had 2 hands on the ball. He protected that football. The Oilers dogged on that.
32 seconds with the clock running, so evidently Houston out of timeouts. They can't stop the clock, and the Rams now can just take a bite out of it. They've got this thing.
All they got to do is fall on the ground.
1st and 10 from the 13. And Hayden goes down with Cullen Bryant and Capoletti forming an arch over him to make sure nobody falls on top of him. They will not have another play.
A big win, a hard-fought game for the Rams. They won. They beat the Oilers at home in the Astrodome. That's a very important win for them.
So the Rams now are 4-0, trying to catch Chuck Knox's record of 1973 when they won the first 6. They'll go to New Orleans, and then actually they play New Orleans at home. Well, let me check. They go to New Orleans and then play San Francisco at home. For the Oilers, they go to Cleveland and Oakland before they play home again.